Okay, are we ready to get started? Okay. We good? Okay, here we go. Hello, everyone, and welcome to How to Draw Ponies. You guys ready to go? Yeah! Oh, come on. I said, are you guys ready to go? Yeah! Okay. Welcome to How to Draw Ponies, the stupidly easy approach. My name is Neil Waycaster. You may know me online as Draw Ponies. You may also know my voice acting work with Pony in a Box, who produced the show Dr. Who's Adventures. Yeah! I want to see if you guys recognize this line. Sudden Kazoo, we're being taken on all sides by Hoofen troops! I am not Hitler Pony. Okay. So, you might look at this picture, which is something that I drew a couple of months ago, and you might say, wow, like that's so far above my skill level, I could never do that. Do any of you feel that way? I see a couple of no's. That's good. Well, don't think that way. That's not the way to think about artwork. Anyone can improve with practice. My first attempts drawing ponies, which were, I think about a year and a half ago, looked like fat dogs. So, all right, please save all questions and comments till the end. Thank you. If you can draw a circle and basic lines, you can draw a pony. All it takes is practice and a few tips and tricks. I mean, I've improved very much. You can see a lot of the artists here. If you go back on their DeviantArt, maybe they were, not doing as well as they are now because they've improved with practice.
I can vouch for that.
One way to improve your artwork is to get expert advice, which I'll do my best to give you today. I'll be teaching you about sketching because that's an easy way to get started. But the principles we're going to discuss apply to sketching with a tablet. They apply to digital painting, any type of medium that you want to do. Our lesson is in 3 separate parts today. First, a short presentation about the basics that you need to know. I'll do some drawings here on camera to discuss horse anatomy, to discuss construction drawing. Then we'll go through a few simple tips for the My Little Pony style, such as how to draw the eyes, the proper proportions, and so forth. After that, we're just all going to draw together, and I'll talk about what I'm drawing, and I'll be able to answer some questions that you guys have. Okay, are you guys ready? Yeah. Let's do this. Oh, yes, shameless plug for my website. Okay. So let's say you were going to draw a real horse instead of a pony. You're going to be drawing a lot smaller head. You're going to be drawing a much smaller body. The body is actually a lot longer on a real pony. But, however, all of the things that you would draw on a real horse, the same bone structure applies to the My Little Pony. So, for example, here would be an example of anatomy for a real horse. So then you're going to have the 3 distinct bones in the legs, just like on My Little Pony. However, let's say you were going to draw Twilight Sparkle. You're going to draw a giant head for her massive brain. And you're going to draw 2 smaller circles, one for the rib cage and one for the butt. And apparently, like on a real pony, here you've got some room for, lungs, But apparently ponies breathe by magic. However, even though the proportions are different, the bone structure is still the same. They still have a spine, for example. Well, unless they're Fluttershy. Okay. So next we're going to talk about construction drawing. I've already showed you the first step in construction drawing. You're just going to use simple circles and lines to figure out the posing of your character before adding details. One of the most common mistakes that I see beginners make is, starting and they start drawing, and they draw the head, like super detailed, and then they move on to the rest of the body. No, don't do that, please. What if halfway through you realize it's positioned wrong? Use construction drawing, and that problem is the thing of the past. If you needed any more evidence that construction drawing is the way to go, it is the method used by virtually every cartoon artist in the world, including the artists who draw My Little Pony for Hasbro. For example, Sibsy uses it, Lauren Faust uses it. It's a simple way to make a 2D image on the paper look three-dimensional, and it simplifies the process immensely. So, how do you use construction drawing to draw a pony? I'm glad you asked. First, you're going to draw a circular head. If you're drawing from a side view or a 3/4 view, it's just perfectly circular. If you're going to draw from the front view, it's just squished a little bit like this. Just a hair, not a whole lot. Okay, and then you're going to draw the circles for the body. So here, this body is going to go over here. So you'll draw a small circle for the rib cage. You're going to draw a slightly squished circle for the butt. Another common mistake that I see quite often is people will start drawing their pony, and they'll do great on the head. They'll draw a nice circular head, just like you're supposed to. Then they will draw the rib cage, and then they'll draw the butt over here, and it's like the exact same size. Now, if you do this, let's just continue this drawing a little bit and see what it looks like. You're not drawing a wiener dog, okay? Another thing that you're going to want to do is you're going to want to draw the legs. You're going to want to start adding the details of the skeleton next. So here's the neck. You're going to start adding the legs. We'll just draw the legs in a simple pose here so that it's not too complicated. Now the legs. Another common mistake that I see is people will draw the legs straight down. Now, this wiener dog, it doesn't have legs from a table. If you look at your references, if you go, for example, to the My Little Pony Vector Club and look at your references, generally speaking, when the ponies are standing, you're going to have the front legs going forward and the back legs going back, like this. Okay. So you're going to add the simple construction lines to show where the legs go. You're going to, for the head, here's a couple tips and tricks. Now, for this example, we'll just draw the head from a perfect side view. Now, let's say we're drawing a unicorn here. We're going to cut the head into fourths, like this. And then let's say we're going to draw a unicorn, like I said. So here's an 1/8 line. Oh, look, there's where the unicorn horn goes. Oh, my God, it's magic. Now let's draw the muzzle on this pony. So here we'll draw an 1/8 line here. We'll draw a 16th line. This 16th line is approximately where the muzzle goes. It's a good trick to be able to figure out where the muzzle goes really easily. So now when I do another, I'm going to do another drawing in just a few minutes, and I'm going to actually take some time with it so that it looks, less like chicken scratch. But now we're going to keep adding details. So let's add the ear. The ear starts approximately halfway down the head. Another common mistake is I see people draw the ears like this. I see this all the time. The ponies do not have horns. They have lovely ears that connect to the side of the head. There we go. Let's continue to add some details. Just simple lines. That's one of the nice things about drawing ponies. You've got very simple lines, simple shapes to work with. It does take a lot of practice. A lot of these artists that you see have been doing art for a year, 2 years, just drawing ponies or drawing ponies mainly. So don't be discouraged if you can't do this immediately. That's okay. One thing that Lauren Faust said, I believe on her Twitter, was think of it this way, that you have 10,000 bad drawings that you have to get out before you can start drawing amazing drawings. Another quote that I really like is from the artist who draws Lackadaisy cats. Anybody else like that? A couple people are hipsters like me. Don't give up if it doesn't work especially well when the first time you try construction drawing, or the 98th time you try it. Keep drawing. Once you understand the basic side view, you can do say a front view like this. This is actually even easier. So you're just going to draw a circle for the head, a circle for the body. If they're just standing, again, the legs are not going straight down, but they're out a little bit. See, the fact that the legs go out a little bit from the body means that the character is going to be more balanced, as opposed to our wiener dog Table, who is just, falling over all the time. All righty then. Next, let's do a few of the tips and tricks for specifically the My Little Pony style. If you take nothing away from this presentation, please remember that you need to use construction drawing and practice from references. Like I said, one of the best places to get references is the My Little Pony Vector Club on DeviantArt. Another place that would be a good place to go would be the My Little Pony Drawing School on Reddit. Anybody go there? Yes. I know some of you are 4chaners and now you hate me. That's okay. But if you go on the My Little Pony Drawing School, you can post your artwork. It doesn't matter what skill level you at. Doesn't matter what skill level you at. But you can go on there, you can post your artwork, and you can get critique from experienced artists in the fandom. So let's try drawing a couple of the pieces that you would be adding to one of your drawings like this. I'm going to be using pencil later so I can actually erase the guidelines. But for example, let's draw some eyeballs. Now, one of the fun things about drawing My Little Pony is that you can really expand on the style, but what you want to do is, what I would recommend at least, is to start with the show style and then develop your own style based on it. So let's say you were drawing Rainbow Dash's eye. Her eye is just an oval, something like this. You're going to then want to draw wherever she's looking. So say she's looking over here. Now, here's a trick that I like to use. If you add the highlights last, especially in a pencil drawing or in an ink drawing, you're going to have a bad time. However, if you go ahead and add the highlights now, you're going to have a nice, perfectly white highlight there. So we're getting good. So let's add the pupil now. Here we go, and then just color it in. Okay, there we go. See, look, that was easy. Look how easy that was. You're going to add the highlights in the eye, and then Rainbow Dash has little stubby eyelashes. So let's add. She's got apparently all of the characters wear makeup all the time, which is why they have the dark lines above their eyes. And then let's just add some stubby eyelashes here. Now, you'll notice that the character's eye shapes differ based on the attributes of the character. So let's say we were drawing Rarity's eye. Her eye is more of an almond shape, more like this. And then let's add where she's looking. Let's say she's looking up, just for variety's sake. We'll add the highlights. Add the pupil, and then we'll color it in. Now, it's already looking a bit different than Rainbow Dash's eye, but she has huge false eyelashes. I wear false eyelashes. And also the line above her eye is thicker, I guess probably to show that she's wearing more makeup than Rainbow Dash. What a surprise. So we'll just add some big curly eyelashes, because apparently she went on a camping trip and remembered to bring her eyelash curler. So now a couple of other different eye shapes. Let's say we were drawing Big Macintosh's eye. You're going to notice a couple of differences. It's more of a circle shape, and then you'll just add a line across to show where he he's kind of sleepy or something. I don't know. Like all the time? I don't know. Let's add the inside of the eye. Now, here is an important thing to note. The number of highlights in the eye is different for different characters. For example, Big Macintosh only has one highlight in his eye. Or if you were drawing a filly, you would draw a circular shape. And the fillies actually have 3 highlights in their eye. Now, this is a technique that, if I understand correctly, came from anime. The more highlights in the eye, the cuter the character. You'll also notice that sometimes the number of highlights in the character's eye changes. So, for example, let's say Rarity is going to look really cute when she's like about to like kiss Spike or something. She has like 1 billion highlights in her eye. So these are little bitty details that you can think about while you're drawing, just to give your artwork that extra pizzazz. Remember what I said about holding questions and comments to the end? Thank you, I appreciate it. Okay, now let's say we were going to draw some awesome wings. I'll just sketch out a basic body shape so that we can have something to work off of. Okay, there we go. Now let's say that your character is, oh God, it's so crappy, I'm sorry. But anyway, let's say your character's wings are folded. You're just going to draw a teardrop shape. It just goes slightly up above the rest of the body, generally. You're going to draw 3 shapes here. Oh, sorry, I forgot. It doesn't quite connect here. There we go, something like that. Going to draw 3 shapes. 3 little humps there, and then the shapes for the wings. If you're going to draw the wings outstretched, we'll just sketch up another pony. Oh my God. Okay, there we go. There we go. Now let's add the wings here. You're going to add 4 feathers for an adult pony. So something like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. And my style is not exactly based on the show, but this is, if you want to try exactly the show style, again, practice from references. You're going to draw the inside of the wing, 3 feathers here. Something like that. Does that make sense? Yeah. Hopefully you aren't completely lost. Okay, let's draw a filly. Oh my God, they're so adorable. You're going to draw a very large head and a very tiny little body. That's so cool. Oh my God. Again, the basic shapes are still the same. You're just going to tweak the proportions a bit. Exactly. The bigger the head is, the more cute you are. That is correct. So let's just add some stubby, tiny little legs, because apparently they're just a tiny little baby here. Okay. There we go. So this would be the basic body shape that you would have for a filly or a colt. So also a tiny little stubby unicorn horn. If you're going to draw wings on it, it's just little teeny tiny wings. Again, practice from references. Oh my God, it's an OC alicorn! No! I am not going to color it red and black, oh God. So this is just the basic things that you need to know when you're drawing a pony. Now, let's talk about one final topic here. Shading. This is one of the things that you're going to want to get into once you've gotten the body styles down. So, generally speaking, a character, if you're drawing show style, you're going to want to draw just a shadow underneath the body. And then whatever limbs are farther away, including wings, are just a little bit darker. So just a darker shade of whatever color you're using. Now, let's say, for example, this pony is, in Zikora's hut, and there's a fire, and the fire is casting light. So we have a fire here. The fire is going to be casting light on the character from this direction. So here's a tip. When you're doing shading, you can draw an arrow to show where the light is coming from. So in this case, the light is coming from this direction. So, for example, we would add shading based on where the light would fall on the character. So think about these. Even though we're drawing in 2 dimensions, the character is a 3-dimensional shape. So, for example, this is not just a flat thing. It's a tube, which if you want to try this at home, you can get a plushie and you can shine a bright lamp on it and just see where the light falls. So in this case, the light is coming from this direction, so you're going to have highlights on this side. We'll draw some shadows in here. So shadows over here, here, as an example. Okay, let's draw some faces. Oh my God! Expressions in the show are so much fun. Oh my God. So we'll draw a male head and a female head. Because interestingly enough, apparently that's the only way to differentiate. So in both cases, you're going to start with just a circle. I'm going to draw from the 3/4 view because that's the angle that's most used in the show. So in this case, you're going to just draw the muzzle here for a female pony. For a male pony, we only have a couple of references for the 3/4 view, but one is Thunder Lane, looking something like this. Okay. Now remember, ears halfway down the head. They're not up here like little horns. They're over here. There we go. Something like that. We're going to draw the eyeballs. Now, of course, the eyeball that's farther away is going to start approximately where the nose is because the muzzle is coming up between the eyes. So there's one eye. Let's add another eye. It can see. I will haunt your dreams. No, I'm kidding. There we go. Something like that. Now remember what I told you about drawing eyes. You're going to draw where they're looking. Now here's another example. If the character is focused, like really focused, you're going to draw the eyes closer together. However, if the character is a little bit, spaced out, you're going to draw them a bit farther apart. Of course, the male is the one spaced out. So let's draw the highlights, like I said. Those you want to add next. Also, another thing that I've noticed is, generally speaking, the highlights are positioned kind of where the pony is looking. So, like if the pony is looking directly at the viewer, we'll make the male looking kind of at the viewer like this. But this pony is kind of looking over this way. So the highlights would probably be around there somewhere. Anyway, we'll add the more details to the eye. Oh my God! There we go. Okay, we'll draw some mouths here. Oh, whoops. Do that a little bit far down, sorry. There we go. It's got a double chin, apparently, sorry. Even I make mistakes. We'll draw some nostrils for the guy. Now, see, another thing to notice is that on the female pony, you've got a little small nose, whereas on the male pony, you've got a more wide nose. So, as an example, if you were drawing from a front view face, the muzzle is going to be smaller on a female pony, and it's going to be larger on a male pony. Let's draw him smiling as well. Oh my God! Okay, so I think that pretty much covers a lot of the basics that you guys need to know. I'll be happy to answer questions as I'm going to be drawing a more detailed drawing now, and I'll be happy to answer questions as I go. If we can get the microphone ready to go, maybe that would be awesome. So, now again, we're going to practice from references. So I have pulled up a reference of Pinkie Pie. Yes. So we're going to try this pose, okay? So if you guys have pencil and paper, I'm glad that you guys have been following along so far. So we're going to try this pose next. So get your thinking caps on. We will be drawing. Sorry?
How would you want them to get your attention to?
Just have them get the attention of the person with the microphone.
You want me to get your attention or just start?
No, get whoever has the microphone. Yeah, you have them get your attention and just go around and have people answer. Okay. Okay. Yes. Oh yeah, pencil time. Someone may decide to ask a question about my pencil. This is not a special pencil. I get these at Walmart for like $2. It's not the tool that's important. It's how you use it.
Do you have any tips on drawing Rarity's mane?
Oh God! My tip is avoid it at all costs. No, I'm kidding. Rarity's mane is actually a very complicated three-dimensional shape. I actually don't have a reference pulled up for that, but just as an example, I remember how to draw her back mane. It's something like this. But the thing to realize is that it's a spiral, okay? The spiral comes down, it comes around. With anything, you're going to want to determine what shapes make up that shape. So, oh God, Pinkie has Rarity's mane. No. but you're going to want to just determine whatever shapes make up that shape. So, next question.
Do you have any suggestions on digital painting and sketching using space as opposed to line?
Using space as opposed to line? What do you mean by that?
Right now, as you sketch, you are drawing with a line. If I were to take a brush with the tablet and make, just fill in the field for a head as opposed to drawing the outline of the head, techniques for sketching with space as opposed to line?
Well, I will be honest with you. That's not my area of expertise. But I would say look up tutorials on YouTube. Sorry. All of my artwork is done. I start with a traditional sketch, and then I color it, basically vectoring it in Paint Tool size. So I'm sorry, I'm not qualified to answer that question. Let's go back to our reference real quick for referencing how to draw. Oh my God, look at this. I drew the head too big. Whoops! But since I'm using construction drawing, it's easy to fix. Yeah! Yeah! Okay.
Could you explain more about little details like the size of the pupil?
Size of the pupil. Oh, this is a good question. The size of the pupil would change based on the character's like excitement or like being scared or something like that. For example, in the first episode, the second part of the two-part first episode, Twilight's eye pupil gets huge when she has like this realization. She's like, "Oh my God, it's the elements of harmony." Or when you'll notice whenever a character gets like super scared, the pupil shrinks down really super tiny. You'll want to again you'll want to use references. Look at how they use that specific detail in the show. But that's the general rule of thumb, based on like how excited the character is or how afraid they are, whether they're feeling a strong emotion.
So, whoa. My question is, what suggestions do you have for holding objects such as books, paper? Ponies don't exactly have fingers to help with that, and the show goes about that in a very unusual way.
That's very true. Apparently, the ponies have like gel hooves or something. I'm not sure. It's definitely different. Definitely different from real horses. But let's say that we were going to add. Let's say we were going to draw a pony holding something. Let's say this pony was holding a cup or something like that. So you're going to use the three distinct bones in the leg. Something like this. Now, if they're holding something, let's see, it's going to come around in three-dimensional space. So like here's the arm going down, up, and then it's coming around toward the viewer. That's why it's a little bit smaller than usual.
Do you have any advice for drawing magic or levitation spells, things like that?
Okay. If I remember correctly, to draw magic, what you're going to want to do is draw the horn. And then generally speaking, there's 2 layers. Unless like Twilight was like lifting the Ursa Major, then there was like 4 or 5 or something. But generally speaking, you're just going to draw 2 layers around the horn, something like this. Thank you, Captain Stickler. And then you're going to draw just some sparkles around here, something like that. So again, for magic, you're going to draw 2 layers. The middle one is a little bit darker than the outside layer. So something like that. That would be my suggestion for that.
Hi. Do you have any suggestions for drawing the backgrounds in the style of the show?
Drawing the backgrounds in the style of the show. Again, not my personal area of expertise, but the style of the show backgrounds are actually very interesting because a lot of them are more complicated than the characters. You've got gradients in there. You've got really complex shapes. Again, my best advice for that is to use references from the show. Because then that way you can figure out what shapes go into making that background. A general piece of advice for drawing background is to make sure your foreshortening is good. Make sure you're using perspective accurately. If there's a building way in the background, you're not going to draw it up here. That's not a building in the background. That's a tiny little dollhouse by Pinkie Pie's foot. So.
How does the neck connect the head to the body?
Excellent question. My personal rule of thumb is just to use the circle that you drew for the rib cage to show you where you're going to draw the lines to connect the head. So you can see that I just drew basically a simple line to go swooping down from the base of the head down here to the rib cage circle, and then I do another one from the back of the head down to the back of the rib cage circle. Hopefully that helps. Let's look back at our reference real quick.
I was wondering, sometimes when you're holding the pencil,
Okay.
my hand shakes sometimes because it trembles a little. Is there any way to help control that or something?
This actually brings up a very interesting point that I see with a lot of inexperienced artists. I mean, if your hand is shaking for some other reason, like you're super caffeinated, that would be something else. Yeah, I'm sure a lot of you are experiencing that right now. But just your hand not making the exact line that you want is a very common problem. Now, what I see a lot of inexperienced artists doing is they'll grip the pencil. Oh my God, I'm drawing lines. No, I mean, that. Oh my God, my hand shook. What a surprise, you know. But if you just build up using light lines, it's a lot easier to get a smooth curve like this, or to get a straight line. If you're just building up using small strokes. So I see this happen a lot. A lot of artists will try to draw just one line. However, it's much easier to correct your mistakes if you're using small lines, and it's much easier to get the shapes that you want.
My question is, could you break down the structure of the legs a little bit more? You talked about the 3 distinct bones, but I don't really see them.
Absolutely. So, for example, let's draw. So for the front legs, for example, here's a torso. Let's say the leg is bent like you see a lot of times in the show. You're going to have 3 distinct bones. So you've got the, basically like where the shoulder is, the second part, and the third part. I don't know the technical terms, I'm sorry. I like ponies. Not as much on real horses, personally. A personal trick that I use is the outermost bone of the front leg. I just curve it to show, to make it easier to draw. So next, we'll draw the back leg. We'll try drawing it bent. Let's see if I can do this from memory. The back leg has 3 distinct bones in it, again. And with the back leg, some people draw it differently. This is just an easy way for you to place the hock, the joint in the back leg. So this pony is, I guess, running or something. Whoops. Let's try this again. Again, easy to fix if you're using construction drawing. There we go. So, that hopefully will make it easier to see. So you've got 3 bones here, 3 bones here. And I know, back legs are a challenge to draw. I struggled with it myself for a long time. So again, you're going to want to practice as much as you can. And not only that, but don't always practice the same poses that you usually do. Try, for example, as one example, every day try to sketch a new pose.
So, I was wondering if you would please demonstrate how you would draw, say, hats or anything compressing their mane. So, for example,
question.
because you're drawing Pinkie Pie, maybe demonstrate how to draw the little umbrella hat. Or I don't know. Is that
Okay.
Is that a reasonable request?
I would need a reference for that specific request, but I could try drawing a hat. Let's try it. I think if I remember correctly in the show, AJ, they kind of cheat. They just kind of draw it behind her head. But if it's actually sitting on top of the head, you're going to probably, if I remember correctly, the main style doesn't really change a whole lot. You're going to just draw whatever hat you're drawing. Let's put her in a fedora just because spaghetti. And then the mane is just going to come out below the fedora as usual. So, yeah. Why not? That's true. That's a good point. The front of the mane does generally tend to disappear in most cases.
How do you draw those ponies from the Canterlot wedding after Twilight yelled at Cadence, who was Chrysalis, and during the Big Brother Best Friend, those little tiny ones?
Oh. Yes. Okay. I wasn't sure where you were going with that. I'm like, what? If I remember correctly, it would just be I would have to pull up a reference to do it exactly, but it's gonna be essentially just the head as usual, and then just a tiny little chibi body, and then whoop! Oh my God! Little tiny legs. Whee! Essentially, if memory is serving me correctly, so. Yep. Nice.
I was wondering, how would you draw them standing on their hind legs, or if they were facing forward, standing on their hind legs?
That is a special challenge because horse anatomy is not really meant to do that. It's like, oh yeah, it's a cartoon. They can do things like that now. But I would say in that case, again, your friend is references like the My Little Pony Vector Club, where they've got references for just about any pose that you would want to do. And but one thing to keep in mind when you're drawing a standing pose would be you want to make sure the balance is good. So, for example, you're not just going to draw, oh my God, it's the body. There's the not the rest of the body, and then oh, here's some legs here. Whoop! Oh God. This pony's going to fall over backwards or something. So, but instead, you're going to want to draw. Instead, you're going to want to draw your pony's legs stabilized. So something like this. This would be how I would do it. Again, you're going to want to look at references and figure out how specifically to draw the pose that you're looking for. So you can see that this pony, has their legs spread apart and they've got it braced so that hopefully they won't fall over.
Do you have any tips on the placement of the mane, mostly the front part of it?
The placement of the mane? Let's see. I think we actually have that in our reference, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, on some of the ponies, like Pinkie Pie or Thunder Lane or Zakora, where you have the hair coming down and starting in the center of the head, you're going to want to draw just the basic lines that you see. So, for example, for this one, you would draw a line down to the middle of the head, and then the mane here. So, oh, sorry, I forgot. Sorry, there we go. So you're going to want to draw the line here, and then the front part of the hair. There's not really a lot of here is the rule for what you have to do for this specific thing. A lot of it is trial and error and looking at references and practice.
I was kind of wondering, how exactly do you draw gala dresses or whatever?
Oh, good question. I'm sorry that a lot of my answers are coming back to the same point, but references are your friend. Also, you will notice that on the gala dresses, for example, the tail is going to make the dress poof out more than if they didn't have a tail there. Or for example, you're going to want to look specifically at the pose and at the clothing that you're adding to the pony. Maybe it has wrinkles in it, and you're going to want to draw. Let's say your pony, you're wanting to go for a more realistic style, and your pony is wearing a suit jacket on their front hoof. So, for example, you're going to draw some creases here because it's bunched up at the elbow. Why, yes. So that would be one example of specifically for drawing clothing on the ponies. So.
How do you add cutie marks?
How do I add cutie marks? Well, this is an interesting question because the cutie mark is essentially a two-dimensional picture on a three-dimensional surface. Now, I know that sounds confusing, but here's a simple way to think of it. So, for example, on this pony, since we're looking at them from the side, we're going to add the cutie mark. Let's say we were drawing, I don't know, Rainbow Dash's cutie mark. It's essentially just the basic cutie mark that you see anytime you're drawing the pony. There's not really any change in perspective in this case. However, on Pinkie Pie, we'll go back to our reference for just 1 second, and I'll try to remember to go back. However, in this case, it's going to be squished a little bit. So it's going to be a little bit bigger on this side, again, because of foreshortening, bigger on this side, and then smaller on this side. So let me actually draw some guidelines to show you what I mean. So for example, we're drawing Pinkie Pie's cutie mark. It's going to be, if it was a square or a rectangle, I should say a rectangle, sorry. If it was a rectangle, it would look something like this. And then you're going to draw the shapes inside it. And the balloons are going to be a little bit thinner than they would be usually because you're seeing it from the side. Does that make sense? I hope so. Okay.
If Twilight would be running to finish a test, how would she be galloping?
Ooh, excellent question. There is a series of videos on YouTube that answers this exact question. I forget the exact name. I think it's called like animation analysis. Is that right? Yeah. He has some that talk about how to animate mouths. He has some that talk about how to animate the different types of walking cycles that you see, a running cycle. That would be the reference that I would recommend you go to for that specific information.
I find it difficult to do the curving on the legs while you're sketching. Is there a way to maybe do a quick curve or somehow?
A quick curve?
On the leggings, like when you're, because the leggings aren't just straight sticks. It's like
That's
something.
correct. Again, as I mentioned before, a mistake that I see a lot is just, I need some clean paper. Hold on. A mistake that I see a lot, again, is straight legs, just like that. Or even if they're trying to do the legs like they're supposed to, oh my God, my pony's legs. Look at that. Oh my gosh. Look how awesome I drew these front legs. Oh my God. However, the pony's legs are going to curve forward instead, just like he was talking about. I would say that you're going to again want to look at your pose reference to get just an approximate shape in your mind of what you're going to be drawing. But generally speaking, they just curve forward with just a sloping curve, a little bit less than like a crescent moon or something like that. And that would be your guideline for the inside of the leg, and then you're going to draw the rest of the hoof around it. Something of that nature.
Do you have any advice on to control the range of a joint or to prevent seemingly overextending a body part?
Good question. I would say in many cases you would need to just think about what joints you're drawing. So, for example, the arm joint, we'll switch over to me. Oh, hello. Hi. Yes, there I am. Hello. So, for example, if you're drawing the arm joint, it can't go any farther than that. Or think about what joint that you're drawing. So the shoulder joint is going to be able to go all the way around, especially on the ponies because they're, apparently much more flexible than a regular pony. So think about what joint you're drawing. Again, I keep coming back to it. Use references. Hopefully, you'll be able to avoid. Hopefully, you'll be able to avoid a problem like that.
This isn't an excuse to reference a SpongeBob episode, but I'm serious. How any good suggestions on drawing perfect circles?
Ah, yes. One of my quintessential viewer questions. I get this on my live stream quite a bit, which, by the way, I do live streams every week. You can follow me. Drawponies.com takes you to my DeviantArt page. I always post there when I'm doing a live stream. You can also follow me, Draw Ponies, on Tumblr or on Facebook. But anyway, enough of that shameless promotion. When you're drawing a circle, what the thing that I get people say is, well, you say that you can draw a pony if you can draw circles and lines. I can draw kind of a line. So yes, this would be an important first step. The way that I personally draw circles is I would start with the farther side, because that's an easier shape for your hand to do. If you're drawing with your right hand, you're going to start this way. You would start with that side, and then, again, the method that I was telling you, you're going to use small lines to build up. You can see, even though I've practiced so much drawing perfect circles, I still make a lot of mistakes when I do perfect circles like this. Now, I know that this is not like super, yay, oh my God, but what I would recommend if you have trouble with any different piece, so like let's say you have trouble drawing perfect circles, or you have trouble with the ears, the mane, something like that, take at least one sheet of paper and just draw that thing. And then do it again. And then do it again until you can get it right. Practice is the only way to improve.
How do you proportion the princesses, like Princess Celestia?
Ooh, fun. Okay. Oh, God. What have I done? No! Okay. Proportioning the princesses. Okay, so with the princesses, different from the ponies, the head circle is going to be approximately the same size as the rib cage circle. And then you're going to draw a long neck, more like a giraffe than a pony. Just kidding. And then, actually, we are not drawing wiener dogs, but the circles are a little bit different than on a regular pony. Because the princess bodies are a little bit longer than the regular ponies. So you're going to draw a long neck there. Again, my technique I said where you're just connecting to the circles. Oh, one specific tip I didn't mention earlier. For drawing the belly, an easy way to do this is just to connect the two circles, like that. There we go.
My question is, how much should the two body circles overlap?
How much should they overlap? Good question. I would say kind of a Venn diagram without very much in the middle. You're going to draw, I would say, let's see. I actually hadn't thought about this, but let's see. I would guess this is approximately a fourth the size of one of the circles. That would be my ballpark guess there. About a quarter of the width of one of the circles would be about how much I would make it overlap. So take that as you will.
I was wondering if you could give us a quick rundown on how to draw a pony, a facial expression smiling but while showing their teeth, because I often see a lot of expression with their mouths closed. So how would I draw a pony smiling but showing their teeth like a normal person would?
Oh, yeah. No, we know we are at BronyCon, so we're talking quote unquote normal. So let's see. If I am remembering my my anatomy correctly, you're going to draw the muzzle essentially the same as you would normally. You're going to just curve around to basically the base of like a line. If you were going to just finish the line, it'd be like a little taco here. It's a little taco! No, it's not. There we go. And then, well, let's just draw the mouth here. And then, You're going to draw a line from the base of the mouth back to the base of the neck. There we go. And then here's some teeth. Woo! Oh my God, she can smile! Yay!
How do you draw the beginning shape of Discord's body?
Ooh! Discord is kind of like Rarity's mane. Avoid at all costs. Please don't tell Delancey I said that. I know that I come back to this many times during this presentation, so I'm sorry if I'm beating a dead horse. But you're going to want to use a reference. There are some fantastic show accurate references of Discord on the My Little Pony Vector Club. But Discord has kind of a snake-like body, and it ends in a point. So something like this. It's a dragon body, but it's like a big snake as well. Like I don't even know what he's doing with his life. I do. Oh, that's right. I do have him on my shirt. But he actually has more of the griffin style leg, which unlike the ponies, it's going to be something like this. Something like that for the leg. And then for the arms, you can just do whatever you want with those. No, I'm kidding. But he has, the long, skinny arms, kind of. I forget which side has the skinny arm, which doesn't. I'm sorry. Something like that. And then he has like a little tuft of hair here. That's kind of fun. And then that's going to connect to the rest of the arm. Oh, how much more time do we have? Can somebody tell me?
5 minutes.
About 10 minutes? Okay. Before we go to our next question, I want to do a game that we usually do at my panels. It's so much fun. And I want to see what BronyCon has to say about who is the best pony. Okay. Shush. Quiet, please. Thank you. Quiet, please. Thank you. Okay. Think in your mind about which of the main 6 is your favorite. Okay, keep it in your mind. Now we're going to vote by cheering. No. Okay. And whoever is the loudest is the official best pony of BronyCon. Are you guys ready? Okay, here we go. Let's start with a pony we've heard a lot about today, Rarity. Okay, that was pretty good. We'll now go to my favorite background pony, which is Applejack. Oh, I think that was a little bit louder, guys. I'm sorry, Rarity fans. You're already losing. Okay, Twilight Sparkle fans. Oh my God, that was so loud. Okay, that was good. Okay, let's try Fluttershy. Oh, that sounded about the same. That sounded about the same as Twilight. Oh my God, who will win and who will lose? Find out after this commercial break. And we're back. Our next pony is, let's see, I think we have Fluttershy, right? No? Did I already do Fluttershy? Okay. Wow, I have horrible short-term memory. Sorry. Rainbow Dash and Pinkie Pie. Okay, let's do Pinkie Pie. Okay. And last but certainly not least, Rainbow Dash. Oh my gosh, I'm not sure. Pinkie Pie was pretty loud, but I think Twilight was pretty loud as well. It was Pinkie Pie. We have. Oh. Okay. We'll have to do something that's a bit easier to count. So we'll do a Twilight and Pinkie Pie again, but we'll do by hand raising, okay? So Twilight, Pinkie Pie, Twilight is the winner! Yeah! Well, in our unofficial poll, which means absolutely nothing, we have Twilight as the official best pony of BronyCon. One more question!
I was wondering, what in your opinion is the difference between bad anatomy and your own artistic style?
Oh, good question. What I would say is bad anatomy is based on bad construction drawing. If you don't know what shapes you are changing, you're not going to be able to develop a good original style. But if you know where you're starting from, then you're going to be able to draw your own style consistently. Consistency is also key. You could have your own original style and draw every single one differently. That wouldn't be good either. And it's not a style, exactly. So, I think that is now the end of How to Draw Ponies, the stupidly easy approach.